cracking, everybody? You're back with Mr. Berger, and we are back at it with Cities Skylines 101. This town is coming out to be really nice looking, guys. I'm really happy with it so far. So I have kind of an outline in my head of what I want to do tonight. There's a couple things I want to do here. Let's go ahead and take it out of this nice, cinematic looking mode. And what do they call it? A free camera mode. Sorry, cinematic mode is the one where we look around throughout the city, and it gives us a nice little scroll through. So what we're doing here is we have this, Snoot Park, we called it. This nice circular district. It came out nicely. Traffic is flowing fine so far. I don't think we're having any issues with it so far. It's okay. And we can solve those issues as they come in another episode. So we're going to use this area as well as, the new areas that we started to fill out near that nice park district that I built with Clarissa a few episodes. We're going to kind of use those spots to continue to fill in the residential and the commercial demand. And then if you recall, partway through that last episode, I mentioned that I wanted to do an area for the university. Now this is not bad to have it here like this, but I think it would be really cool. And it would draw away from that bonus land value if we move it, but I do think it would be really cool to move it over, say, here, and just have like a nice little university district. And then from then on out, we can also like maybe build a neighborhood around that in a future episode. So on top of that, I was thinking, okay, let's start expanding our industry a little bit. We've got our basic generic industry here. If we look at, the zoning, we can see that everything there is yellow, that representing the industry. Up here, we got the farming. If you look at the Bonnie Farms, you can see that little, what is it called? It's like a tractor kind of logo there representing the farming district or the agriculture district. So you can also do like ore and forestry and oil. And if you have the industries DLC, which I would like to get at some point, I just haven't gotten around to spending money on that yet, you've got even more options, I think, and it becomes much more complicated. So those are kind of a few things that I have in mind. We'll see how long it takes us to get started here and how long it takes me to get these things going to see if I actually get around to doing all of it. But, demand is looking pretty good at the moment. It looks like we have a little bit more residential demand, so we're just going to kind of continue to fill in this area here. Everything's covered. Water looks good. Electricity is getting a little bit low. We could turn the budget up to 100% for now just to be safe, and then when those things, start to pop up, we'll be sure to have enough. And then we look at elementary and high school, we're good. You can see the university holds a lot of students, 4,500. So there's no need for us to build a whole new one. We're just going to kind of move that one away. So another thing that I want to talk about in this episode, or at least briefly touch up on, is highway exits. So we've got a lot of options. This one right here is a nice little trumpet. And I have a million downloaded, like interchanges and highway exits and stuff downloaded from the workshop. So if we go to the roads here and we go to intersections, you can see that I got a ton of them. I recommend looking into, they're pretty much most of the top assets downloaded. You can get a few good ones from strategy guides, but I definitely recommend looking into these Timbos, intersections, and interchanges. And again, these are like pretty much the top assets on the workshop if you're playing on PC and you're looking on the Steam workshop. And a lot of them are just really good interchanges. So some of my favorites would be like this trumpet here. And you can see that you can just place it down onto the freeway there where we would just delete part of the freeway. And then it gives us a nice little interchange there where we're going from kind of a two-way freeway to like a three-way interchange. And then if we want to go for a four-way, we've got all kinds of options. It's got cool things like that. We've got a five-way option here. That thing looks really cool. Here's another kind of a four-way interchange, and that one comes out and does a little bit more of a, I think, roads going outward rather than continuing highways. You just got to keep in mind what you're trying to make. Sometimes it's overkill. You might not need a massive, interchange like that just for one little neighborhood. So like a nice little starter one would be this T-bone interchange, and we can even look into building a couple of our own here as an option, or we can use some of the ones that are provided for us. So let's start by doing kind of a nice little university area here. I'm a little worried about the train track, but I don't think it's going to get in the way too much. Let's do it. I don't want to do it too close over there. We're going to do it kind of over right around here. So are we giving up any natural resources there? No, it doesn't look like we're doing anything too bad there, so that'll be okay. So that little T-bone interchange would be good. And we have a few options actually of things that we could do. So let's go ahead and we're gonna just put it in pause here for a minute, and so that I don't mess anything up by building these roads. But just some basic interchanges. If you wanted to build your own, you could go to highways, go to highway ramp, and you just select like a node there. So I like to get it to, let's say, just something that's easy to remember. Let's say 45 degrees. Can I lock onto a node a little bit better? There we go. 45 degrees. 8 units. There we go. And we're going to do page up. Oh, we should do that first, huh? Page up to get it to 9 or 12, because that'll allow us to go over something. Over another road. And this is a one-way. So 45 degrees. And then we can go from there. I want to go directly out. Why isn't it allowing me to go directly out? Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's go 135 degrees, 10 units. And then we'll just connect back to that little dot there. And this isn't going to be really nice looking because I'm just kind of doing it by hand. And we're just going to kind of try to follow that. We're going to go up to 12. We're going to go 45 degrees. Was it 8? Or was it 10? I think it was 8. Anyway, if it doesn't match up perfectly, that's okay. We're going to start from here. What did I do there again? Yeah, that was 8. Okay, cool. We're going to go across here. And I think it was about 10 units. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll do 10. And then we'll just connect it back down there. Okay, so now we have this nice little, you know, kind of diamond hexagonal shaped thing. And this is just giving us kind of a bypass lane and exit lane on each side. You can just do like a diamond too. You could come out with just like a diamond shape. And it doesn't have to be elevated either. That was just kind of for the fanciness of going out there. But the part that does need to be elevated is if you do like a cross section like this. And we're just keeping this real simple. We're just going to do a basic road for now. And we're going to do a cross section like that. Space is already occupied, so if you're playing vanilla, you may have to fiddle with it to try to get it to work. So you can go across like that, and then like that. And that's just because it's trying to place those pillars somewhere. Alternatively, if you can never get it to fit, if it's staying red like that, you just turn on road anarchy, and then it'll just work every time. But I like trying to get things to work without road anarchy the first time. So we'll do it like that, and then connect it all the way. And this just gives people the option to change directions from one highway direction to the other, essentially. And then it's going to come down from here, basically, and we'll bring it back down. I like doing it nice and even, 10 units all the way down to, you know, even with the ground. And then we will have it come down, we'll say 20 units. And then let's have... how are we going to do this? You know, it'd be cool if we just did like a nice little like one-way loop around the what is it called? The university there. So let's do like a nice one-way road with trees. Let's bring it out 10 units here. Let's go 10 units there. And then we're going to take that university. We're just going to do relocate building. And we're going to slap it right maybe in the... We'll do it like right there so that they can come off the road and directly turn into it rather than having to go all the way around. You can see where the little arrow is where they're actually gonna have to enter. So since it's a one-way, we want to have it kind of over here so they can go directly in. And then we can have the one-way come down 10 units all the way across 20. And then we got this nice little, you know, square around there. And then if we wanted, we could throw in a few trees. Let's just do a couple redwoods. We'll just keep it kind of vanilla here. Just do a couple of basic vanilla redwoods. Make it a little bit nicer. And, you know, I don't want to do too much detailing right now. I'll leave that up for another episode with Clarissa, because she really likes helping me detail. And she helps me come up with some awesome ideas for it as well. But that'll just be kind of a little bit basic stuff to fill that in there. So now we've got our university over there. And these guys aren't going to be happy. They did lose a little bit of land value over here. But, not the end of the world. They'll be fine. Now, the next thing, obviously, that we need to do is connect electricity and water. Now, this isn't the greatest interchange here. In fact, it's quite bad, and it's going to fill up with traffic pretty quickly. But since we have such a small town now, and I took the time to build it. Let's keep it. Why not? I'm happy with it. I like building little interchanges. I'm not very good at it. I usually just use the ones that you can download, like this one right here. But you know, this works out okay for the time being. All right, so next thing we need to do is run electricity over. It'll be really easy. We just run a nice long wire all the way there. Now it might not work perfectly because we need to get across the highway there. So sometimes you'll do things like, yeah, see that works great there, and then we can run it a little bit closer to get those details in, and that should be good. And next we need to do water. So let's go ahead and run some water. I think we can just take one of these guys, go 180 degrees, and just go all the way out. And look at that, it covers it perfectly. All right, guys, that is looking real nice. All right, let's go ahead and put it into regular time here. And it's going to take people a little while to adjust and head on over there. But it should be working okay. It looks like the students are still in there, even though we moved it. You can also move it with the Move It mod, but I like using that vanilla tool there, the relocate building thing, just because it moves it nice and, you know, clean. It looks like a couple people are using this little exit here. I don't know why they would be using it if they're not going off the freeway there, but okay, that's fine. And again, guys, this is not super necessary. Like, you don't need to put your university really far away. In all honesty, it would probably be better just to leave it there where it was, close to all the stuff. But I wanted to expand out a little bit further. I was getting tired of, you know, keeping the city. And again, it's really small still. But, you know, in the first few episodes, we're still in this small little area. I wanted to expand out and use some of the other areas. So we got that there. Demand is looking really nice all around. Electricity is fine now. Garbage is getting a little bit low. So let's check our budget. Garbage budget is 100%. So let's invest in another incineration plant. We could do a large advanced incineration plant. And then put these things, like turn these things off, but that might be a little bit overkill. I want to save a little bit of money now for the roads and stuff. So we're just gonna do another regular advanced incineration plant. Put it right there. That should take care of garbage completely. Just give it a second here. Put it into triple time. Yeah, there we go. And it's doing it so well that we can turn the budget for garbage back down a little bit. I don't want to do it too much. It's better to have more than enough than not enough. So we will leave it right there. It's looking good. Yeah, looks good. Electricity's a little bit low now. I'm going to put another one of these guys down just to be safe. As we expand more and more, the demand is going to go up more quickly, especially if we get into like high density stuff. So it's good to just make sure we have enough electricity and stuff. And pretty soon I'll start putting down some better electricity suppliers, you know, like power plants or whatever you want to call them. This is a nice thing here that's downloadable. And it creates a lot of electricity. Works out really well. Alright, looks good on all those fronts. University, high school, everything's good. This thing isn't having any complaints. It looks like we got students in there. And we got people coming in. And they turn in there. And they go directly into the school. And then when they want to exit, they just go all the way around. And we can add more detail to it later. But that's looking pretty good for now. So we'll keep it in single time here so things don't get too out of hand. And then we're going to go up here. And we're going to turn this into an oil district. So let's get that big tool. And this whole area essentially is going to be an oil district. So let's do that right there. Where does the oil go to? We go to, yeah, that right there. It doesn't need to be that big. We can get it a little bit smaller. Whoops, that is not what I wanted. There we go. I guess better to have it a little bit bigger than not big enough, just in case we expand it a little bit. But that looks good. And again, guys, remember we are doing this map with unlimited oil. So if you aren't doing unlimited oil, then once you start putting down oil, let's go to set this to oil first of all. Once you start putting down oil industry stuff, then it's going to start sucking up that oil, and it's going to eventually become depleted. And then your stuff just starts like importing oil instead, and it works a little bit differently and causes more traffic. I like playing with unlimited oil and ore just because I like having it set up where, you know, you put your oil pumps down and they stay there just for the RP sense of it. I know it's not realistic, but that's just, you know, how I prefer to play. And there's a lot of different ways you can play this game. So for this one, I actually do want to use this T-bone intersection. And then we're going to go ahead and try to make use of as much of that as we can. Now it gets pretty close up there, so I'm wondering if we should do it rather than on the curve there. I think we're going to actually do it up here. That'll work out better, and then we don't use up as much of that space. So let's pause it first, and when you're slapping in one of those big old interchanges that you downloaded off of the workshop, you're going to need to clear plenty of space, make sure it fits in, and then you can easily fill in the rest of the highways. And there's a few ways to do it. You can try to eyeball it and get it down perfectly, and it might not work perfectly. And sometimes the distance in between the highways is a little bit different. So again, it might not line up perfectly, but you can also try to like snap it on like that, or over here, however you want it. So I want it kind of in the middle there. I think that'll be good. Let's have it a little bit further out actually, towards this one. And then we just go to highways. This is just a standard 3-lane highway, so we're going to select that right there. We're going to use the straight tool, just connect it there, and you can see it's just like slightly curved. It's 179.6, it's not 180. Same thing there. So just slightly to teensy bit smaller, less space in between these two areas than these two areas. You can see it curves in there a tiny bit, but it's hardly noticeable, and honestly I don't really care. So now that that is there, there's a few options that we can do. So I recently started doing these, this vanilla high-speed exit, or a while ago I liked using these. That's a nice little interchange there that we can use once we're off the freeway, because what this T-bone interchange here does is it actually dumps us out into another freeway. So you could change that, and we could just upgrade these into 1-lane roads, right? Like that. Or even just keep them as the on-ramps and off-ramps like that, just like these guys are up here. But instead, we're going to have it dump it out like it's a highway, and then we're just going to have it come onto a highway exit. Alternatively, there's a lot of other options of things we could have done. So like, one of my favorites here is there's a lot of ones with like roundabouts that'll have nice little exits like that, and it'll have a roundabout around the center. One of my favorites is the dog bone. I think if I just search for it, that'll be the easiest. Yeah, the dog bone. And it looks here like that. Whereas those two center parts would be the highway. You'd slap it on like that. And then you got these two roundabouts. It looks like a dog bone. And it actually works out really well. Different things are going to handle different amounts of traffic better or worse. So just to keep it simple here, we'll have this nice little T-bone exit here. And we could do that high-speed vanilla exit like I was saying earlier. But another one that I downloaded that works out surprisingly well and takes up only a teensy bit of space is there's like a highway to 6-lane. Yeah, simple highway to 6-lane that I downloaded off the workshop. And you can see it snaps onto that T-bone interchange perfectly. And it just turns 2 different highways into a 6-lane road. And it comes, preset with nice little trees. And if you don't need the full 6-lane, you can always minimize that down to like a regular road or a 4-lane or something like that. And I don't think that we will need the 6-lane here. So we could, change all these to 2 lanes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this into a small 4-lane road. And you don't have this unless you downloaded this, I forgot what it is. It's one of the mods that gives you more road options, but I won't spend time worrying about it. But you got the small 4-lane road here, and that makes it a lot thinner. And then these ones we can make it to 2-lane highways, which is another thing from that mod. Rather than the vanilla 3-lane highway, this can just be a 2-lane highway so that it matches the 2 lanes that it has down here. So you got 2 coming in, and then they go directly down there, and then you've got 2 going out there as well. And this isn't going to handle too much traffic too well. If you want more traffic to be handled, you're going to need a bigger interchange, that'll have more lanes and flow better. But for the little amount of stuff that we're going to be doing tonight, this is going to work out just fine. So now we've got it dumped off of the highway onto this little road here. So it's looking great. All right, let's bring that 4-lane road down a little bit further to about there. Well, let's turn on the natural resources. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring it to about there. And I'm going to bring it a little bit further out, actually, until we get a little bit to the darker part of the oil. Now, this is where you can have fun with how you want to circle around the oil. Just like we did with the farm district over down here, we kind of circled around that area there. We could do the same thing up here for the oil. There's no need for us to use this 4-lane road, though. it's going to be not too much traffic here, so we'll just use a regular 2-lane road. Nothing fancy because it's for an industrial district. You don't need like trees. I like using the free form tool, so we'll do that. And I keep the this little guy, the little natural resources tab open just to see where the oil and stuff is. And we're just going to kind of freeform it around here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not too worried about it. And then we're going to kind of grid up along the inside, just like we did previously. Oh, my printer's deciding to act up here for some reason. Alright. Let's go ahead and keep doing that there. And we're gonna grid on up here. It's looking good. Looking good, looking good. I guess it's not really gridding, it's more of a doing a curvy road around here. Alright. Let's connect here. And we are fully connected. It looks great. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of grid that up. It doesn't have to be perfect again. We're just having a little fun here. So I'm just going to kind of, rather than do it curvy, I'm going to kind of do straight lines here. Maybe I should have it come directly from down there. And then line up with that. I kind of wanted it to be like 90 degrees with this though. Yeah, we'll do that right there. It'll kind of turn a little bit at the edge there. Oh, that's not going to come out very nicely though, unfortunately. Okay, let's start about here and just go directly up. And then for this one, yeah, we can do that there. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. And I want to line up with that one. That's what I want. Yeah, that's not gridding up too well. That's not exactly what I want. Let's leave that one out for now. Let's try to line up with this. Not working out too well. Right there, maybe? And then connect. That's where I want it. It's not snapping on too well with this part, unfortunately, so let's go ahead and start over here instead, and maybe that'll give us a little bit better luck. And if we want to get it perfectly with this, we kind of got to start in the center there and then work our way up and down. So let's do that. We will get it, start from the center here, work our way up. Oh man, it's not snapping on too well because of all these funky curved roads that I did. But there we go, we got it there. Let's bring it all the way up there like that. Let's bring this part down here like this. Whoops, I did not mean to click that. And bring it on up. And I mean, we could connect in the center here if we wanted, but it's not really super necessary. There's not going to be a whole lot of like back and forth traffic. Like, it's mostly just going to be industrial trucks, you know, doing their job, you know, getting the oil and sending it out and stuff. So it doesn't have to be too great. And another issue I think that we're having here is this probably isn't flat. If we look at the terrain height map, yeah, it's not flat. You guys can see there's a difference there, which is fine. But that's just causing us to have a little bit of issues making the roads and everything come across perfectly how I want them. But it's working out okay. We put this guy here, bring it all the way down. I might just road anarchy that one to make it fit, and do that. And I mean, we could switch it up and like go across or something too. But let's keep gridding up here. And at this point, we could just start putting stuff down and finishing up the grid later. But I'm kind of like hooked on getting it done now. Let's switch it up for this part. I want to do something a little bit different. I mean, we could do it curved like that, but I like having the straight grid thing that we're doing here. I mean, that would work out. It's a little weird looking, but okay. Why not? Alright, this is gonna be a little bit harder. we could just come across here, just do it like that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's have a little fun with this part. Make it look a little bit more biological or natural, kind of, rather than just kind of this perfect grid. We'll switch it up a little bit for that part, and that'll, then we have this nice, you know, lined area here, and then a little bit more funky or freeform area here. We could do this across there like that too if you wanted, or we could leave that center part open. All right, let's put it back into regular speed. This whole thing is set as oil already. So at this point, we just start zoning some of it as industrial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of down here. Yeah, let's do like this area here. And then we're going to, because we're going to run power to all of that. So let's see. Well, that's not quite in the oil too much. So let's actually do a block kind of right in the center here. I don't really want that much yet, so let's just grid up like a nice little rectangle like that. I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then obviously we're going to need to run water over there as well as electricity. This thing, let's just bring it up. I'm not going to get it the perfect amount here. We're going to start the grid over from right there and 90 degrees across, and then we're going to just do the 22 degrees thing, or in this case we can just snap it onto the little circles there. Maybe a little bit lower actually, and that should give us our that should take care of it. Give us our nice water grid there. I wish it was working with the snapping onto those circles. Instead I kind of have to eyeball it here, but it's working out okay. I think those little lines, I feel like, why would those lines be showing up if there wasn't space in between? But it should be fine. If there's not enough water for the people or for the buildings there, we will see that pop up and we will take care of it. Okay, and then from this part I'm going to actually measure it out, 22 units. I'm going to do it properly instead of being lazy. Okay, cool. Alright, water's all done there. And then we have electricity run all the way from here over to there. So we're actually just going to run it from the university now. Let's do it here, right across there. And then we'll do it kind of over this direction. Where did we zone it up again? Right there. Okay, so then we'll run one like kind of as close as we can without getting in the way of the zoning there. And then pretty soon, it's going to take a little while, but pretty soon we should have some buildings pop up there that are part of the oil industry. Now, we don't have too much industrial demand. We got a little bit. It looks like we got a little bit more residential and commercial, so we're just going to kind of fill in a couple more things here. We'll fill in that right there and that right there. That'll take care of a little bit of residential demand. And then for commercial, I could put a couple more down here. Or I could continue to fill in this area here. Let's do another little lane or a road there. That'll look nice. We'll put it into triple speed. And it looks like we are getting our first oil building here. Alright, let's put it into regular speed now. Bob's Plastic Bags. So it's, you know, oil stuff and plastic and things like that. And the different buildings look different. You know, that one is like a refinery looking thing. Doesn't have water. Oh no, I didn't send it out far enough. My goodness, I made a terrible mistake there. And I zoned in that area too. And I put the water down wrong. Okay, 90 degrees across. And let's do that out there too. We'll do a little bit further than necessary just so we have room to expand. Alright, now we are good on water. Alright, so we got that little oil refinery thing there. And that one's definitely like an oil pump. And put it into triple time here just to speed these up. Yeah, that one looks like an oil pump thing too. Let's put it into the free camera here. It looks a little bit nicer. Alright, there we go. Now it's pumping oil. And we should see a lot of trucks coming in and out of here as the industry expands. But, I mean, that is looking good, guys. And we'll just continue to address the different demand as it comes up. So for now, let's put a little bit more commercial. We can do it along here. Let's bring this road, and let's just go ahead and bring it up another 20 or 30 units. And honestly, we could just connect it all the way across there. And then that way, there's another connection. So people don't always have to now go onto this roundabout and use that as the only way to connect from like the, whole industrial area down to get to here. So it's good because it keeps the traffic from all the trucks isolated to this area here, from all the the generic industry and the farming industry, and they can just get directly onto the freeway without having to interrupt this traffic down here. They do have to go around to get on, but that's not a big deal. It's not getting blocked up yet. It's working okay so far. Now this way, if people are living down here and they need to go up here for work, they've got a little bit more of a direct route. Or if things need to get delivered, or if the police need to get up there or whatever, right? So that looks good there, and we can continue to fill in some more commercial along there. We could grid that up along there and just make that kind of a commercial block in that area if we wanted. We may want to consider doing another area of commercial around here, so it's not all in that one area, and we don't cause too much traffic jam, too much of a traffic buildup within that area. Looks like we got some more residential demand, so we can continue to grid up along here. I'm gonna do it like this, and I'll leave this spot, these lanes open for commercial if I need it in the future. And let's check on our oil industry. Looks like it's got a nice little start going. We don't have much industrial demand right now, so we're not going to worry about it too much. Let's go in triple speed here and just kind of let everything flow. And let's look at this nice little highway exit that we made. We can see how it works here with the people coming in and out of it. It looks like it came together really nicely. Very little traffic, so it's working out okay. If we go down here and check on our interchange that we built for the university, also very little traffic. You can see, since there's almost no cars entering and exiting, it's just a few people going and leaving the university, going to and leaving the university. It doesn't build up traffic too much. So once it builds up more and more, if we build around that exit more, we're definitely going to change that out for a bigger, fancier, more compatible exit. Water, electricity look good. Garbage looks good. Let's check on our police and fire. Police is okay. We may want to consider putting another fire station down up by our industry up there, because industry tends to have a lot of fires. Another thing you can do to prevent that is take this industry, or this district here, go to policies, and then you can give them smoke detector distribution. And you don't want to do that for your whole city, because it'll reduce your income a lot, because it costs a certain amount per building. But for smaller isolated districts like this, where there's going to be a lot of fires and stuff, because it's industry and is far away from any fire station, you can do that to reduce the chance of fire. So that's how you use those policies and stuff effectively. I mean, it's looking pretty great at this point, guys. I think that is pretty much it for the video. So let's put in a single time here. Let's do a quick little recap. We had the city nicely set up here in this little area, kind of one square, honestly, at first. We set up this nice circle district last episode. And then today, we went over here. We moved our university from this little, I guess, block there, and we expanded and we made another exit. I built this myself here, and we made that nice little exit for university. Afterwards, we used a few online assets to make this little exit here, and we built a nice oil district and got the oil starting to flow. So maybe in the next few episodes we can continue to expand there. We have a few areas right now that are available for expansion. So like if we look at zoning over here, we got plenty more room to zone up along the walls here, to zone in there, to expand the roads out further and grid up some more. We also have a lot of extra space to zone in here, so we can do that at some point as well. And then of course we have this whole massive map that we can continue to expand on. Right now I'm trying to keep everything relatively together, but it would be cool to, I don't know, go all the way down here and just make like one little isolated district, or like a rest area or something. That's a fun thing to do. I do have a little rest area that we can use. Alright guys, I think that is it for today's video. So let's go ahead and let's close it on our newly built area over here. We got our oil pumps in the background and our nice little university there. So thank you so much for watching all the way till the end here, guys. Make sure to leave the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this series, and if you want me to build anything in particular or you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and have a good night.